Hi, my name is Brian Stewartley, and there's nothing you can do about it. Diane Simmons can't resist. Our coverage of this late afternoon edition of MonWHO News centers on some of the draft resolutions being discussed for the plenary session. Our crack team of dedicated journalists has investigated the current status of the resolutions, especially the levels of support.
Chaos breaks out in day 2 of the European bloc. With 3 distinctive resolutions being discussed, it's hard to imagine how Europe will come together to have one concise resolution. Serbia and Israel have called for a resolution that incorporates 3 steps. Pakistan and Iran have called for another one that stresses maternity health. And while the third one is still in development, it's clear that Saudi Arabia is unhappy with the previous 2. I went inside the Europe bloc to interview various delegates and find out exactly how they feel about the resolution process and where they see the process headed. Pakistan has been instrumental in introducing a resolution so far. What are some of the strengths and weaknesses you see of your resolution?
There are a few things that we're working on possible amendments. We also have support of GSK and possibly other and Oxfam, and we are still talking to MSF and a couple of other NGOs.
I'm here with the Serbian delegate. Now, Serbia and Israel have formed a partnership of some sort, and they've decided to introduce a new resolution. However, in speaking with the Pakistani delegate before, she's called your resolution short-sighted, confusing, and trying to incorporate too many things at once. How do you respond to this criticism?
Well, first of all, I'd also like to clarify that it's not just Israel and myself, it's also including Norway, Spain, and France. They're all sponsors. Their opinion of our resolution is coming from the not complete understanding of the resolution. For example, Iran, who is also working with Pakistan, seemed to be very confused when we were talking about a cap on the Dublin Convention. And what is your opinion on Pakistan's resolution and Iran's they're doing a joint resolution? What is your opinion on? Their resolution is similar to ours. I feel that they don't have as much planning for the future. They don't have as much of a plan, and I'm not sure how long they intend to rely on NGOs for funding.
With so many personalities, so many resolutions on the table, how is Europe going to come together to have a concise decision? It just seems impossible, right?
Yeah, right now there's a lot of conflict.
I spoke with the Saudi Arabian delegate on why he chose to support both resolutions. He said supporting both resolutions was necessary as it incorporated aspects that were complementary to one another. However, when I asked him why he didn't try to persuade both groups to come together and make one common resolution, he had no answer. This is Ramiz Imtiaz, Al Jazeera, Montreal.
Let's hear the Xinhua report. Go.
Hi, this is Megan with Xinhua, and the current state of the draft proposals within the Asian bloc is currently, well, they have 2 drafts put forward first. The first is focusing on water sanitation problems, and so they're looking to implement solutions for the long term.
The draft resolution that's coming right now is really great, and the topics that we're focusing on is long-term solutions, and the specific details in that is sanitation, infrastructure, and education programs for refugee camps.
The second draft they have put forward is regards to the educational programs, so they're looking to fund scholarship programs, specifically countries that have medical schools in place already, so with infrastructure. So Red Cross and the NGO like Red Cross has put their seal of approval.
Well, there are currently 2 drafts going on right now. Are we talking about the water sanitation and educational programs? And there are the Red Cross's signatories on both of those drafts. We do believe in both the short-term and long-term effects that those 2 programs will have.
Definitely supporting these initiatives, and also GSK, their rep.
We would love GSK's help in providing the community with all the resources they have.
The pharmaceutical company has also supported these initiatives, especially water sanitation, because they find that very, very important, and they have a 50-50% stake ownership with China.
So my impression on America is that they've got a really great idea going in the fact that they've got a pure sanitation initiative that details every sanitary measure that needs to be taken. So they've got my stamp of approval on that. With regards to Asia, they are relying heavily on GSK's resources, which is great. And I think GSK has much more to offer than Red Cross or Oxfam in terms of sanitation approaches. And we've got China's support in a 50-50 resource allocation method. So China gives 50% of its resources and GSK provides 50%. So that allows for more money to be allocated to different programs. With Europe, I don't know what to say about Europe. I don't really approve of too many things that they do, but I think their focus is changing. They need to be more wholesome in their approach in their resolution, because as of now their resolution is more Europe-based. Africa is doing a good job. I think what Africa needs to remember is that they need to encourage their own workers to get the ball rolling and to actually satisfy their own needs, as opposed to just relying on donations from other countries.
So that's all for now for an update, and this is Megan with MonWHO.
Now over to the New York Times.
Hi, this is Charlotte from the New York Times. I spoke with many representatives from countries and NGOs and pharmaceutical companies about the resolution that are being drafted right now.
We call upon the international community to commit aid to sub-Saharan Africa at this time of crisis, given the floods in Somalia. Africa right now is united and committing all their resources to dealing with this issue. However, unfortunately, this is not going to be sufficient for dealing with this problem in the short term. So we call upon countries to contribute funding, to contribute human resources to dealing with this issue, specifically to help us establish camp infrastructure to increase our capacity to hold refugees, and also to establish security so that aid workers can work in this area.
How are NGOs and pharmaceutical companies are going to help in order to provide this for your proposal?
They're going to be an integral part of our plan, and we've been working positively with them, and we expect funding to come from pharmaceutical companies, and also NGOs have offered not only financial support but human resources.
So far, Pfizer pharmaceutical company decided to sign only one resolution draft. So does this mean that it will be the only one, or will she be implied with other continents such as the Africas and the Americas?
Hey everyone, I'm here on behalf of the New York Times with Miss Isabel from Pfizer pharmaceutical company. How are you?
Fine.
So we're going to talk about the proposal made by the European nations, which you already gave your approval.
Yes, I gave myself approval for the Health Impact Fund because I think this will allow a lot of people to get access to medication.
Have you seen any other resolutions that you are planning on signing later on, or is it the only one that seems appealing to your company?
At this moment, I gave my approval only to this resolution.
Thank you very much. So we were with Isabel from Pfizer Pharmaceutical Company with the New York Times.
Thank you. Thank you.
Let's head over to the Daily Kenyan.
Hi, this is Laura Hine with the Daily Nation. I have Pfizer here today to answer a few questions I have.
What we want to do is we already have a global health fellow program in place. What they do is that they work with NGOs according to help with infectious disease. So we provide knowledge, and we also provide in a certain range medicines and drugs. We really want to help the situation, the health situation, and the health situation in refugees.
Okay, so
no, we're not in this in the profit. Of course, we are there for the profit in developing countries because we're a profit organization. But when we are helping, we are doing just because we want to help the cause, and we're not looking back for something after.
while Pfizer claims that their main goal is not to gain profit, India admits limited healthcare is available for refugees outside of Delhi.
Absolutely. India refused to sign the treaty back in the 50s because India felt that that treaty was more towards in order to help Europe, not other countries. So we decided not to sign, but on the other side, we are still providing help and healthcare to refugees in India.
Is there anything that you're planning to do in order to implement a strategy to increase the healthcare?
Now there's already thousands of camps scattered all over India. You must be aware that there's a lot of NGOs that are working in India currently for the refugees. So the government of India and NGOs are working closely together to provide healthcare to the best that we can do.
Thank you very much. This is Laura Hine with the Daily Nation, Montreal.
And now with the BBC.
Hi, this is Kelly from BBC News. The different resolutions have been made, draft resolutions have been made among nations, and different nations seem to have different things to worry about. However, there is a common theme amongst the different nations, such as the water sanitation program.
Oxfam's mandate is obviously providing a basic standard of humanitarian relief to all peoples. So there are a lot of good draft resolutions that are coming up. We obviously support anything that to do with women and women's and maternal health, as well as we're a strong advocate of the water sanitation programs.
Right now at the moment I'm very heavily supporting the IHF, so International Health Fund, that members of the European bloc are currently working on, especially Russia and Jordan, for example.
From your standpoint, what is the most important thing about the Health Impact Fund?
I think one of the most important things to consider is how the money is going to be first put into the fund, and how the money is going to be spent. Is it going to be more long-term or more short-term?
You guys, I've noticed in some other blocks that have been talking about the Health Impact Fund and the water sanitation program. Have you guys touched up on those two topics?
Yeah, specifically the water sanitation program, a bunch of our groups have been talking about communicable diseases, and
we've been talking about sanitation aspects of specifically Latin America. Latin America, obviously, in the developing nations, are struggling severely.
How are you guys planning to get funding for all those interventions?
Well, we have some NGOs that have signed on with us. We have support from some of the pharmaceutical companies.
This is Kelly from BBC News. I'm here with a representative from. How do you guys plan to integrate all the countries together?
As an NGO, I feel like we have a really relevant third-party experience, and we can play sort of a mediator between differing groups.
In other news, a shady character was escorted from the premises after taking pictures of delegate communications.
Pardon me, sir, you're going to have to leave the premises. What have I done? Well, we've had some disturbing reports of communications interceptions that are disrupting the proceedings.
Where did you get these reports?
I cannot divulge that information.
There's no papers.
I'm going to have to ask you to leave, sir.
I can't. This is democracy.
This
free
is
speech.
This
free
is
speech.
This
free
is
speech.
This is the MonWHO conference, actually, sir. Democracy is just one part of what we do, Your Honor. Thank you very much. Now be on your way.
MonWHO staff deny any security breach. Thanks, I'm Brian Stewartley. I'll see you tomorrow morning, barring any unforeseen firings, replacements, flash floods, disease, or losing my pants. This has been a MonWHO Media production, and remember, if it's not on Twitter, it's not really important.